Alrighty, I have the new Sapphire R9 270X overclocked 4 gig version. This is crazy card right now. Just released earlier this month, actually last month. Now it is January 1st, 2015. Okay, so going down with the specs of the card. What you get with the card. It is like a rebadged 7870. Just any 7870. Pretty same processor, a little bit more memory, obviously, faster core clock, and other couple goodies as far as like the firmware software that you get with it. A couple more bonuses as far as that goes. Let's jump right into it. You get a let's see, Mantle. That's another plus. Alright, so core clock. You're going to have a 1020 megahertz core clock, and then it boost clocks up to 50 more megahertz, which is going to be 1070 megahertz. So that is very nice. VRAM, 4 gigs of GDDR5, and that's going to be clocked at 5600 megahertz effective. So that is really nice. Over a 256 bit interface, which gives you 175.9 gigabytes of bandwidth, of throughput. That is crazy ridiculous how much that puts out. Alright, so it's going to be TDP of 180 watts. That's going to be approximately a recommended 500 watt power supply with 36 amps on the 12 volt rails. You can probably buy get away with it with a 450 watt power supply if it's a good power supply. Alright, let's get this open. Alright, now opening up the box, we have a nice overclocked 4 gigabyte GDDR5 Dual-X fans HDMI. Not a lot on the box. Pretty good. Here's a copy of your Battlefield 4 coupon that you get with the R9 270Xs and above. A quick install guide, your driver installation disc. Just go to the AMD website, download the latest drivers, and then you get a case badge, product registration, and then your card. Set that to the side. Your 6-pin to single-pin Molex cable. You get 2 of those, DVI to VGA, and a CrossFire cable. So you have their Dual-X 2-fan solution on there. Your CrossFire bridge connector. 4 copper heat pipes, so when you stick it in your case it'll look like that. Nice sapphire and a little shiny decal on there. The back, just a nice black PCB. You have your PCI X16 3.0 slot. On the back you get 2 6-pin PCIe connectors that does 275 watt your 275 watt connectors from your power supply. You have your Dual-Link DVI 2560 by 1600 resolution. Another DVI-D. DVI-I is going to do your D sub, and also another 2560 by 1600 resolution. HDMI and DisplayPort actually can do up to 4K. They can do the 4096 by 2160. And so this is going to be the newest HDMI 1.4a. It's going to be for that when they implement the 4K resolutions. DisplayPort's kind of interesting. It's 1.2 DisplayPort, so it's going to give you that 4K, but definitely 2560 by 1600. But you can do up to 3 displays on just one DVI. So you have to buy a display hub, and then you can do 3 displays. So natively, this can do up to 6 displays, which is badass. Talk about Mantle. What comes with this card is going to be Mantle supports games like Battlefield 4 and other new games that are coming out. The technology to make the CPU and GPU talk to you better for faster frame rates and performance. Comes with Direct Compute 5.0, basically CUDA for AMD. UVD 3.0 is going to be doing your Blu-rays out through your HDMI, as ATI Vivo decoding your Blu-rays and HD videos, high fidelity playback 7.1 audio, your Dolby Digital DTS HD, Infinity 2.0, also DirectX 11.2, OpenGL 4.3. Does have Raptor that includes with a box with all these cards, optimizes and organizes and gives you rewards for gamers that are using R9 series, 7000 series cards. This card also features zero-core technology, which allows your AMD Radeon GPU to consume basically nothing when it's in idle. So when your screen is turned off, it's not using the technology in this card. Benchmarks are going to be running on a Phenom X4, 4 GHz. Clock speed, 8 gigs of 1600 MHz G-Skill RAM, 240 gig SSD, Asus M4A97 XTD with Windows 8 64-bit. Alright, we're doing Heaven, DirectX 11 with Catalyst drivers 13.12. Resolution 2560 by 1440. And we have 8xAA, 16xAS, and we got 30.1 frames per second. Putting the resolution down to 1080p, we're going to be getting around 38 frames per second. And then AA at 2 and AS at 2, 47 frames per second. So really, really good at 1080p if you're using this card for 1080. Bioshock, we're having resolution at 2560 by 1440 and everything on Ultra. DirectX 11, we got 51.45 frames per second. And the two games you probably want to hear is Crysis 2. So at 1080p on Ultra, we got 43.25, so really good on that. And then 2560 by 1440 on Ultra, we got 31.68. Sometimes that would dip down to 26, 27, so it kind of got out of the playable range, but definitely docking that down to 1080p, you will definitely get playable frame rates. Battlefield 4, since it newest game that came out, and just downloaded that, 12 gigabytes for that game. Oh my goodness. At 2560 by 1440 with all presets set on Ultra, we got around 30 FPS. On the boating scenes, it was very choppy. If it was on 2560 by 1440, it was just kind of laggy and skipped around, so I had to knock it down to 1080p at everything set on Ultra, and then I still got 91.7 FPS. So crazy frame rates between 2560 by 1440 from 30 to 1080p, which is 3 times as much frames per second. Kind of ridiculous. So that has been the benchmarks on the R9 270X 4 gigabytes overclocked edition. Thanks for watching.